My grandmother's will required her grandchildren to eliminate each other from inheritance. The envelope arrived on a morning, a thick cream paper with my grandmother's monogram embossed in gold. Inside, her familiar handwriting covered 3 pages in careful script, each word deliberate and precise as everything else she'd ever done. My dearest Natalia, it began, if you are reading this, I have passed away and my attorney has begun executing my final wishes. What follows may shock you, but I assure you every decision has been made with careful consideration and deep love for all my grandchildren. She'd died 2 weeks earlier at 91, surrounded by family in the mansion where she'd lived her entire adult life. The funeral had been elegant and somber, exactly as she would have wanted. I have watched each of you grow into remarkable young adults, and I am proud of the people you have become. However, I have also observed troubling patterns of entitlement and complacency among my grandchildren. You have grown accustomed to the comfort my wealth provides without truly understanding its value or the responsibility that comes with it. My stomach started churning as I read those words. Grandmother Evelyn had always been stern but fair, expecting excellence from everyone around her while providing unwavering support. She'd paid for private schools, college tuitions, and graduate programs for all 7 of her grandchildren without ever making us feel like we owed her anything. The idea that she saw us as entitled felt like a betrayal. Therefore, I have designed what I call the worthiness assessment. Over the next 6 months, you and your 6 cousins will participate in a series of challenges designed to test your character, intelligence, resourcefulness, and commitment to family values. At the end of this period, only 1 grandchild will inherit my estate in its entirety. The others will receive nothing. The words blurred as I stared at them, my coffee growing cold in my hands. This couldn't be real. The assessment will be administered by my trusted attorney, Mr. Whitmore, who has detailed instructions regarding each phase. Your first challenge begins immediately and will test your response to this news. How you handle this information and interact with your cousins over the next 72 hours will determine your initial ranking. I dropped the letter and reached for my phone, scrolling through my contacts to find my cousin David's number. We were the closest in age and had always been allies during family gatherings. If anyone would help me make sense of this insanity, it would be him. Nat, thank God you called, David answered on the first ring. Did you get the letter? Please tell me you got the same insane letter I got. The worthiness assessment? I said, my voice barely above a whisper. She wants us to eliminate each other from inheritance. David, this can't be real. I'm sitting in my car outside Whitmore's office right now. I drove here as soon as I finished reading it. The receptionist confirmed he's expecting all 7 of us to schedule individual meetings this week. She wouldn't tell me anything else, but Nat, she looked at me like she pitied me. The reality of the situation started sinking in as I heard the strain in David's voice. Have you talked to anyone else yet? I asked, already dreading the answer. That's the thing. The letter specifically says we're being monitored starting now. How we handle this information, whether we try to coordinate or conspire, it's all part of the first test. I wanted to call everyone immediately, but what if that's exactly what she doesn't want us to do? I walked to my window and stared out at the street where I'd grown up, where grandmother Evelyn had lived just 3 blocks away in her Victorian mansion. We need more information, I said finally. I'm calling Whitmore and scheduling a meeting for today. We can figure out how to handle this after we understand what we're actually dealing with. Nat, wait, what if the first test is seeing who calls the attorney first? What if being proactive helps us or hurts us? We don't know the rules. David's paranoia was starting to affect me, but I couldn't let fear paralyze me completely. Then I guess I'll find out. I'd rather take action than sit here wondering what she wanted from us. Mr. Whitmore's office occupied the top floor of a downtown building that had been elegant decades ago, but now felt tired and forgotten. The elevator creaked as it climbed, and the hallway smelled like old carpet and disappointment. His receptionist, a woman in her 70s with carefully styled gray hair, looked up when I entered and smiled. You must be one of Mrs. Holloway's grandchildren, she said in a gentle voice. Mr. Whitmore is expecting you, dear. He's been preparing for these meetings for months. The attorney's office was exactly what I'd expected from someone who'd worked with my grandmother for 40 years. Dark wood paneling, leather-bound books, and photographs of distinguished-looking people in expensive frames. Mr. Whitmore himself was tall and thin, with white hair and kind eyes behind wire-rimmed glasses. Natalia, please sit down, he said, gesturing to a chair across from his massive desk. I imagine you have questions about your grandmother's final wishes. I need to understand what she was thinking, I said without preamble. This assessment idea, it's not like her. She always taught us that family was more important than money. Mr. Whitmore opened a thick folder and removed a document I recognized as my grandmother's will. The official version was much longer than the letter I'd received, filled with legal terminology and specific instructions that made my head spin. Your grandmother spent 2 years planning this assessment, he said carefully. And what he told me next made everything so much worse. Full story is linked below or on my channel.